The zombies weren't the worst part of the zombie apocalypse. The thing was, they were slow. A fucking toddler could crawl faster than these zombies could walk. No, the worst part was all the nutjobs who believed it was the end times. They went around killing anyone they thought was infected, including tons of people who weren't. That's how my dad died. He had a stroke. He was outside in our driveway. He could barely move. The zombie patrol saw him and shot him. No hesitation. If they had just called a fucking ambulance, my dad would still be alive. My mom took it the hardest. She had come home to find him like that in our driveway. After that, for weeks, she was practically catatonic. A zombie was bumping into our front door and she didn't even think. She just answered. By the time I heard the screaming, it was too late. I managed to kill the zombie, but she'd been bit. I know it was stupid, but I had just lost my dad. I didn't want to lose my mom, too. I locked her in our basement. For weeks, I would check the news, praying for the government to find a cure. Months passed. Almost all the zombies in the country were killed. New waves would come. The zombies would be exterminated. It went on like that for months. Then my prayers were answered. The government released a message on TV saying there was a cure. They had set up a hospital site. Wrangling my mother was easy. I tied her up in the car and left. Once at the hospital, soldiers helped lead my mother to an exam room. I wanted to go with her, to be the first thing she saw when she came back to life, but a doctor sat me down outside the room.
The reason these waves keep happening is because people are hiding their relatives, hoping for a cure. Eventually they get sick too and spread the infection. Don't be alarmed, there is no cure.
Two gunshots sounded from inside the exam room.
The only way to end this pandemic is to kill all the infected. I'm sorry, your mother died a long time ago. Just finished it.
Rage seethed inside me. Let me say goodbye.
Son, she's gone.
You fucking lied to get me here. You killed my mom. Let me say goodbye. The doctor nodded and a soldier opened the door for me. I entered. I was alone. I decided I didn't want to be a part of the living anymore. All of them were liars and murderers. I stuck my finger into Mom's blood and rubbed it on my gums. I needed to bite that asshole doctor quickly before it slowed down. But something was different. The infection had mutated. I felt myself growing stronger. The last thing I remember is sprinting at top speed and ripping that lying doctor to pieces. I don't belong here. I was minding my own business one day, and the next moment I was gone. A window shattered and the shrapnel fell on me while I was walking by. I died from blood loss on the sidewalk. I woke up with music playing loudly. It's a small world after all. On repeat. I sat up and I realized I was in one of the boats of the Disneyland ride. It's a small world. As far as I could tell, I was the only passenger. And the ride existed as an indoor-only closed loop, with no way to get on or off. I wasn't stuck on the boat. I got off and I studied the animatronic dolls to see whether there was a power source. And as far as I could tell, the power wires disappeared into a wall. None of the exit doors opened, and There is no way out. After being stuck here for probably a couple of days, I observed 3 rules. 1. I can destroy anything I want, but they come back whole as soon as it leaves my sight. 2. I can destroy the music speakers in one portion of the ride and get some relief so I can try to think or sleep. 3. I'm hungry and thirsty, but I don't seem to be running out of energy. I've destroyed enough dolls and set pieces to build myself a makeshift shack. The walls are thick enough to dampen the sound a little. I've destroyed the speakers too many times to count. The song just keeps going and going and going. The lifeless eyes of the dolls are starting to mock me. The taste of the water on the ride is starting to become bitter. I tried drowning myself, but I just end up waking up on the boat again. Each time I drown myself, I notice the doll's face is getting a bit meaner. It slowly goes back to normal after a few hours. I'm starting to notice some dolls going missing and reappearing after some time. Where are they going? What level of hell is next for me? I see an Eskimo doll peeking around the corner, holding a butcher's knife.
The man in the backseat tells me not to exit. I was so dangerously close to drifting off, but now I'm startled awake. It sounds so profoundly wrong to hear another human voice. It isn't his command that makes me stay on the US 95. I just momentarily freeze up, and before I know it, the turnoff for US 6 is an abstract shape in the rearview mirror. I've been driving through the deepest, darkest depths of Nevada for probably more than a dozen albums now, and this is the first human voice I've heard for at least 5 of them. I'm still desperately trying to figure out where the singing has gone. Last I checked, Rush did not release 5 consecutive instrumental records, and I suppose not having anything to sing along with is not helping me stay energized, but I shouldn't be hallucinating already. I can't make out his face. He's directly behind me and dressed like an American tourist, but it's pitch black outside and the shadows seem to perfectly obscure the useful bits. I roll the windows down. Being slapped in the face by cold wind usually wakes me up. I want to wake up a bit before I start working on getting back to the turn. Even so, my eyelids feel heavy, and I still feel him watching. I shake my head rapidly. I rub my eyes. I repeatedly slam my skull onto the side of the truck. I'm still on the verge of drifting off, and you'd think the fear would wake me up, but I'm not awake enough to feel anything other than the pain of sitting down for too long in the beckoning void. Nonetheless, I signal to pull over.
Stop.
I stop signaling and attempt to ask why. No words come out. Why am I even listening to him? Why can't I speak? Why can he after what I did to him? I need to wake up. Came this close to flying off the road, and the only thing that stopped me was my own auditory hallucinations. The only thing that woke me up is the words of a corpse with no tongue. This time I pull over and turn around for real. He says nothing, and now I'm driving back toward the turn, looking for a sign with a number 6. I think I'm waking up a bit. In the mirror, he looks the way he's supposed to and is no longer speaking. The sign isn't showing up though. Maybe I actually did doze off a bit and drove the wrong way for longer than I thought. Maybe I'm just being stupid and I already passed it again. Eventually I pull over and turn around, hoping I can find it.
Good.
I'm startled once again.
Just keep driving straight. I'm taking us to a better place.
This time I listen, and together we drive off into the black of the desert night, past empty billboards in unnamed towns.
Do you ever notice the way things go, missing sometimes? You misplace your car keys, forget your glasses somewhere, your cup of tea, which you swore was right next to you, is on the kitchen table getting cold. Or how a friend will text you and say, I saw you at the store today. But you're sure the last time you went to the store was a few days ago. Coincidence, right? Or sometimes you feel that odd sensation that maybe you didn't lock your front door, even though you're sure you checked. Or perhaps you left the oven or your heating on. Surely that's just anxiety, isn't it? Or maybe it's just that strange foreboding feeling where you feel like you're being watched. Or how you wake up at night and you're sure, absolutely sure, there's a shape in the dark until you turn on the light and there's nothing there. Or for a second you think that there's someone at the window, but they're gone by the time you look outside. When you turn the lights out in your house and that eerie feeling that you should run upstairs before it catches you, washes over you, even though you're sure nothing is there. Let me ask you another way. Have you met the thing that has been getting better at wearing your skin yet? Thank you for contacting Fancy Friendz, the world's leading supplier of children's dolls. Now, to get you where you need to go, please select from one of the following options. To place an order, please say order. To check the status of an existing order, please say status. If you're calling to register a complaint, please say complaint. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear you're having an issue with one of our friends. Which fancy friend are you calling about today? For Blinky Betty, please say Blinky Betty. For Robbie Rabbitfoot, please say Robbie Rabbitfoot. For Mr. Giggles, please say Mr. Gig. If your child has not yet opened their Mr. Giggles doll, please say not opened. If your child has opened their Mr. Giggles doll, please say opened. If your Mr. Giggles doll's voice box is faulty, please say faulty. If your Mr. Giggles doll's voice box is not faulty and it is ordering your child to perform a ritual sacrifice, please say sacrifice. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear your Mr. Giggles doll is telling your child to kill. Unfortunately, it would seem some of our Mr. Giggles dolls' friendship packs contained instructions on how to summon otherworldly entities instead of a list of Mr. Giggles' favorite snacks. Please note, there are no refunds on Fancy Friendz dolls once they've been removed from their original packaging. If your child hasn't killed yet, please say no kill. If your child has only killed a household pet or a small animal, please say animal. If your child has already killed a human, please say human. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear your child is a murderer. Unfortunately, that means that the entity has already left the Mr. Giggles doll and possessed your child's body, and they will become an unstoppable killing machine unless cleansed. Is your child currently restrained? If so, please say restrained. If not, please say not restrained. Please note, we strongly suggest restraining your possessed child. If it's already too late to restrain your child, please say late. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. You're speaking too fast. If it's already too late to restrain. Okay, no time to waste. I'm going to give you a 6-word incantation to purge the entity from this realm and release your possessed child from its demonic control. When you're ready to hear the incantation, please say ready. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. There's too much screaming going on. When you're ready to hear the incantation, please say ready. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. There's too much screaming going on. When you're ready to hear the incantation, please say ready. Hello? Are you still there? When you're ready to hear the incantation, please say ready. As we have not heard a response, we are going to disconnect this call. Please reach out if you have any further inquiries. And thank you for contacting Fancy Friendz. Goodbye. My life's been super weird lately. My friends and family, just everyone around me, stopped talking to me instantaneously around last month. It's like I'm a ghost to them or something. It honestly hurts. Even my girlfriend and cat, who live with me, they don't acknowledge me anymore. I don't know what I did to deserve all this, but it's fine. Okay, it's been a week and a half since I started writing, and my electricity got shut off and my girlfriend moved out today. She took my cat. She didn't even ask if she could, she just took him. Not gonna forgive her for that. I bought that cat a couple years ago too. He was basically my kid. She took him away from me, which honestly hurts. Okay, before this turns into a sob story, I need to get back on track. Ran out of food today. I have like one box of cereal and a half full sleeve of salty crackers. I'm gonna need to go shopping tomorrow. It's been about 3 weeks since I started writing this, and I haven't been able to find enough money to afford very much. Right now, I can barely afford a small bag of chips. Specifically, the same ones you get at a Subway when you order a meal. You know, the sub with the drink and chips, which at the local gas station costs $2.30, including taxes. Update. Just got back from shopping. The cashier didn't seem to notice me. They were being very rude. Asked them why they weren't letting me pay for the chips. They acted like they didn't even see me, which was super rude and unnecessary for them to do. I might report them. I ended up just leaving the money on the counter and leaving. It's been 67 days since I've been writing these stupid journal entries on these lined pages I've managed to find. It's been 2 months and 7 days since everyone around me started ignoring me. I think I've been losing consciousness every now and then. I don't remember a lot of things. Days seem so much shorter than they used to be. Weeks seem even shorter. Maybe I should see a doctor. But maybe I'm just overreacting to it all. It's been 2.5 months now since I've talked to another human. I don't even care if I know them or not. I need someone to talk to. Preferably a real person, not just the ones I've been seeing for a few weeks. I just call them the people who disappear forever and then come back just to leave. I hope they're okay. It's been 4 damn months. 4 impossibly long months since I've started writing this. I finally figured out what's going on. So 4 months ago, almost exactly, I remember reading about a really bad car accident. One person died and 2 others were injured but alive. Local business owner Anderson Wales killed in premeditated car crash, 2 others severely injured. The headline read. And I remember it for one specific reason. I remember it so damn clearly because that name, Anderson Wales, well, that name is mine. Even from a young age, I knew this wasn't my real family. It's not that they were unkind to me, it's just that it didn't feel right. I was an outsider in my own home. I isolated myself from them, and I just know they like it that way. They will act like they want my company, but they only do this to keep up the facade. Unlike my parents, I've always felt a strong sense of closeness to our neighbors, the Hansons. I felt it in my blood. They were my family. I don't know how my parents did it. Kidnapping, switched at birth, illegal adoption? I can't prove it, but I know it. I started visiting them a month ago. I could tell after a few drop-bys they started to get uneasy. It was like they were scared. I'm certain my parents were threatening them. When I first spoke with Sally and George, they insisted they had never had children. I was almost convinced they meant it. When I kept pressing them, they asked me not to visit again. So Plan B it was. Obviously, they felt threatened to reveal the truth to me face to face, so I had to be more discreet. At first, I would hide in the shrubs behind their window at night, but it was impossible to hear anything from outside. Soon after, I started to sneak into their basement in hopes their walls were thin enough. Their basement window was always unlocked, but unfortunately, all I could hear were muffled noises. Finally, I came up with a foolproof plan. One week, when they were out of town, I saw Sally leave a spare key under her doormat for their housekeeper. They got back this evening, and it was easy enough to slip right in after I got off school. I told my parents I was studying with a friend. I've been sitting here waiting in their pantry for about 3 hours. There's been no mention of my name, but surely they are waiting until after dark to have those types of careful conversations. Finally, they sat on the couch with the lights dimmed. I could hear Sally whisper something to George, but I couldn't make it out. I leaned my ear close to the door, knocking over a jar as I stepped forward. "Did you hear that?" George said softly. I crouched down, but lost my balance and fell into a row of shelves. "Ouch!" I blurted. I heard some rustling. "Show yourself!" It was now or never. I cracked open the door. "Mom? Dad? It's just me." A sharp pain struck my chest. I looked up to see George pointing a shotgun at me. My shirt soaked with blood as I collapsed onto the floor. They stood over me. The horror on their faces made my heart sink. But I don't understand. I'm your son.